everyone, Kaylee here. I wanted to share a couple quick tips about ceilings. So in CET, there are two types of main ceilings. The first one is on the walls component tab, and it's located right underneath the pilasters. And you can do some pitched ceilings. I'm just going to start with the plain one. Um, and in order to put a ceiling onto your space, you just want to grab that ceiling button, and I'm just going to come out here and click once on the corner of my space, twice, and then I'm going to drag it down to my spot here. And you'll notice in my 3D, I kind of have a funky view. This is just to show you sort of the underside of the ceiling. Um, Another thing you want to make sure you do once you place that ceiling is make sure it's at the right height. So in order to do that, just check in your properties box. I know that my walls for this demonstration were at 300 inches high. So I'm just going to pop that ceiling to the top. And there's nothing really special about this ceiling. It's just a plain ceiling. But I do want to point out that you want to click this solid checkbox if you're doing some environmental renderings and you don't want the sunlight to come through that ceiling. This will make it so that it will appear more like your environment. If you're using the multiple suns setting in Photolab, then you don't need to check this box, but all the other settings, you'll need to check that box so that the light doesn't penetrate through the top of the ceiling. So that one's pretty easy. It's just the simple plain ceiling. I'm going to delete it now. And the other ceiling I want to talk about is on the lights component tab. So over here on the lights, the one with the light bulb, is a lit ceiling. And we have two types of lit ceilings. We have a fluorescent ceiling, and then we have a light wire grid ceiling. The one I'm going to use today is the fluorescent ceiling, and it works the same way as the other one. I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to come out to my space, and again, snap into the corner to the other corner, and then I'm going to drag it down. And this one came again, at this height. You could set this up as a default to match, your wall height, but I'm just going to click on it, and in the properties box, I'm going to change it to 300 again. Raise that up. And a couple properties I want to talk about. I like to have my lights on for my rendering. You could turn them off, and they will render, off or on. And if you turn them on, it will actually give light to your space. Again, this ceiling, we want to make sure we click solid so the light doesn't come streaming through, the sunlight doesn't come streaming through. This one comes in by default with the solid checked, but you can turn off the light so it looks like the plain ceiling. It'll still give off light, but you can turn those off if you don't want those to appear that way. You can also turn off the grid that's on there, so that you'll notice there's a little acoustical tile grid that you can turn on or off. Some people don't know this too, but you can also paint your ceiling any color from your Material Explorer. So if I click on my Material Explorer and bring that up, I could use any of the colors from there and paint onto my ceiling. You can also change some aspects of this default. So I could make the tile width 48 inches. Let's do that. And then, the tile depth 24. So we've got some lights here that have, increased in size. We could also change, if that's too many lights for your space, you have some adjustment here that you can make to narrow down the amount of lights that are in your space. You could even narrow it down a little further by giving a little bit more room around the perimeter of your room. You can also change, if you don't like that square or rectangle fixture, you can change it to a circle can light fixture or a rectangle can. They also have this nice little double narrow, which is a little more contemporary. So you can change that. You can also do a little bit of customization in the lights component tab. So if you do not want certain lights, you can use the remover tool, and I can come in and remove certain lights I can also add lights if I have, maybe some can lights that are over in my space. You can add those in here as well. I also like to check this use area light box, and that will give some additional light to your space. Um, and the light settings, I typically don't have a problem with what it's set at, but if you feel like you need to add a little bit more light to your space or it's a little too bright, you can click on the light settings and you can adjust that here in the settings box. In addition to the lights that are already provided in here, you can add some pendant fixtures that they have in here. I personally like the hanging fixture. However, I don't recommend using the one in the lights component tab. Um, for this hanging fixture, I actually go over to the 3D tab. On the 3D tab, there is a light fixture here, the fluorescent light, and you can place it in your space and click on the light settings dialog box there. And the reason I like to use this one versus the other one is this one has a couple more options. So I can change the depth of it and the width of this light fixture. I can also remove the steel grid if I want to, or and just make it a plastic plate too. Hope you enjoy those ceiling tips. Thanks for watching, and as always, have fun creating.